Good morning, and welcome to another exciting edition of Day 4 with the man, Frank Scalish, coming in hot, and we have a new addition to the Day 4 family. Frank, how's it going? Who are we, what are we working with here?
We're working with a new kitten called Lynx. I told my daughter not to get it, and she did anyway.
And now you're in love.
That's the new baby to the household.
How old is Lynx?
2 months old.
He seems pretty chill, like a slinky.
Oh, he's chill, all right. She is. She drives me absolutely crazy.
Oh, it's a girl cat.
Yeah, I don't want a male cat. They spray all over everything.
Yeah, that could be an issue.
It is a huge issue. But this cat disrupted everything. Because Bama was the queen of the house, and now, changed the whole dynamic.
Yeah. Well, that'll happen.
I'm kind of irritated about it, actually. And it's a little troublemaker. It's a kitten, so it gets into everything. Where like with Bama, if I leave a lure on a countertop, Bama doesn't give a crap about the lure.
Oh yeah, Lynx is going to be introduced to Gamakatsus at some point in her life, probably.
Pretty soon. I mean, she got I was painting lures the other day, and she got into my fly tying room, and she all the fur, all the feathers, everything in that room. I couldn't even catch her. She was losing her mind. She was jumping up on the pegboard and trying to get the fur strips out of there and everything. So you got to go down. You got to get out of here. You're driving me nuts, man. And so it was crazy. So I'm like, oh my God, I got fly tying hooks out that are, little trout hooks. And I'm like, oh, she's going to swallow one of these.
Yeah. You gotta kitten proof the,
everything.
Yeah. What the heck? That's just wrong, William. He said if you have two cats, they should always be the same color. That way, when they use up their 9 lives, they make great slippers that will match. That's just morbid.
I'm going for that eclectic look where it's like the dudes today wear 2 different color socks.
Some dudes. I try to not wear socks.
Amen, brother.
Don says he sneezed just watching it. I gotta admit, I'm very disappointed in myself this morning, Frank. I've been on this coffee in the morning and then not eating until noon. Feel fantastic.
Okay.
It's sometimes a little, but I jump in, get ready for the show, get up at 6:30, shows at 8:30 Central Time, get everything done. By the time all the back end stuff is done, it's noon. It's time to eat lunch.
Right.
I've eaten 3 personal pan pizzas before 8 a.m. this morning. I don't know what happened. I woke up, I was getting ready for the show. They're little, just a little.
Yeah, I know. They're little dude.
Yeah. And I had one and I was like, oh, I shouldn't have had that, but I could go for number 2. And then next thing you know, I had number 2 in the microwave. And then I was like, well, I'm still kind of hungry and I've already blown it at this point. So screw it.
You might as well rack another one.
3 personal pan pizzas by like 7:50 in the morning. It's awful. It's a disaster.
Well, here, look. Okay, so all right. So eating breakfast in the morning is not the problem, dude. You have to have a good breakfast in the morning. I never miss breakfast. I make a pile of eggs, bacon, hash browns every single morning, and I munch, and then I'm good to go, and I don't have to necessarily have lunch then. But the breakfast is what gives you the energy for the day. And so if you're going to skip any meals, right, you should really, in all honesty, you should have a small dinner and eat a good breakfast and a good lunch.
Well, I also try not to eat a large dinner either. It's intermittent fasting. So I basically eat from noon to 8.
Yeah, that's
like
cool.
3 small meals between then.
Yeah,
it's not really working, but I mean, it is. It's not working when you eat 3 personal pan pizzas before 8 a.m.
Yeah, but if you do a good breakfast, chances are you won't even eat lunch.
Yeah, that's fair. I did go crappie fishing yesterday with we had Zeke Anderson on the show yesterday on BTL, who fishes crappie tournaments, talked about crappie fishing for you're in trouble with that one.
Yeah, I gotta get her out of here is what I gotta do.
Crappie fishing for bass guys And then we went out, and he proceeded to catch the largest bass he's caught in the past 20 years.
That's
On a
outstanding.
crappie jig, and we caught 0 crappie. But we did see 2 giants that he estimated between 3 and 4 pounds.
Oh my gosh,
We
dude.
could not get him to eat, but then he caught a 539 largemouth on a 15-foot pole,
That's so sweet.
which was
dude.
a real rodeo when that thing bit.
Well, yeah, because realistically with the long rods, you flip them in the boat, the crappie in the boat. So can you imagine trying to get the bass with a 15-foot rod, get a bass that big close
Yeah, I
enough to
can,
the
because
boat?
we had to do it.
What did
First
he
of
walk
all,
the rod down?
yeah, he did. So Juice was in the boat too, because we wanted to watch Zeke. So it was like, hey, we're not really fishing much. We're gonna kind of watch how Zeke did it.
Right, sure. I'm
And
tracking.
he got everything dialed in, but when he hooked that fish, we'd been out there for a couple hours, and it was crazy because we thought it was 50-50 bass or crappie. But when he went on that 15-foot rod and it didn't move, all 3 of us just started screaming and high-fiving, and we didn't even know what the hell he'd hooked yet. We were all out there like, oh!
Could have been a giant
Even
flathead.
him, he's got it on like 1 rod, he's high-fiving us and stuff, and then it comes up and he's like, bass, bass, bass.
That's
We
outstanding.
thought it was either a 4-pound crappie or a bass, and then as soon as it like moved and came up, he thought it was a bass. But I mean, still, you got to catch the damn thing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So-
I was out Tuesday crappie jerking, and I get out there, and it's a place that I haven't crappie fished before, and I get out there and I find a wad, and I drop down on them. I get one to go. I get it. It's a 10-inch crappie. So I caught it. I let it go. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be a great day, because that was like my 3rd drop. So I'm like, yeah, I'm in. And then I'd get these big marks, run that crappie jig down. I'd feel them touch it, and they wouldn't take it. And as soon as I would drop it down, I'd have like 3 or 4 come up on it,
Mhm.
and they wouldn't take it. Then I saw one by itself, so I went and got that. It turned out to be a 2.5-pound largemouth. And then I saw another one solo. I went and got that. It was another bass. So I after about, I probably to 11:30 catching bass on the crappie jigs, I said, well, I might as well put all this crap away and go real bass fishing. And so I put all the crappie rods down and picked up a couple of jerk baits and went out and caught some bass on jerk baits, and came onto one of those big schools where the fish looked big on the forward facing. Threw that jerk bait over it, pumped the jerk bait down, and I get one, and I'm like, oh yeah, dude, it's like a 10 or 11-inch gizzard shad. And so here, what I'm doing is I'm chasing these giant gizzard shad all over the lake.
Yeah, the
Still
gizzard.
waiting for the boat ramp.
That'd be a great Christmas book. Boat Ramp Rage, a how-to guide for irritated fishermen by Frank Scalish.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
gizzard shad will get you.
Oh, dude,
'Cause they look
look just
exactly, and they follow it, and they don't eat. Okay, we've got an interesting show today, and it did just update, so we are good to go. So before the show, you've been working on this show for like a month, and you've been saying it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, and
Right.
this was supposed to drop at 8:30 a.m. Central Time, or 8 a.m.
Correct. 8
Central
a.m.
Time on lurenet.com. It just dropped at 8:37 a.m. Central Time on lurenet.com. I think we jump right into this to give our listeners. I mean, this is literally, if you're one of the ones watching, you are the first 100 people to ever see these.
Right. So I guess we're just gonna go. I'm gonna get in it. Okay.
Yeah, get in it, and we can do all the other stuff later, because this is literally, if
Yeah.
you're a fan of Frank Scalish and Painted Lures and Rogues at Smithwick, this is right up your alley. And it literally, like, this just dropped 2 minutes ago.
Right. So don't scroll through the colors yet,
Oh,
because I have
okay,
an
sorry.
idea. So here's what we're gonna do. I have the originals. So what we're gonna do is, ooh, that was a nice color.
Yeah, we'll have to go through that. There's a bunch of stuff on LureNet, but we're doing the FX colors of the Rogues first.
Right. We have to focus on this because I've been working on this for a long time. So I mean, I don't have to get into the suspending rattling rogue. everybody knows that bait comes into its own in the cold water periods. I don't, the Rogue was one of the first suspending jerk baits made to target cold water fish way back in the day. So I don't have to get into the history on the Rogue. Anybody that fishes them, likes them, catches fish on them, knows the history. So the reality of it is, I was working on a color series, and everybody knows back in the day that I worked at my brother's body shop when I quit fishing the tournament trail, and I hooked up with a PPG and a bunch of other paint companies. And so what I always asked them was, I want something new. I want new pearls, new ideas, and I can get them before they were actually on the market. So I got a hold of all this stuff, and I don't get my pearls pre-mixed in a clear base. I get my pearls in powder form, so I can make my own pearls with them. And so I started experimenting with overlaying multiple different pearls on top of each other using the baits are transparent when you get them. But the whole key in a transparent bait is to make it semi-transparent. So every time I layer a pearl color and then layer a different pearl color and another pearl color, it makes the bait less transparent, so semi-transparent. So we go from clear to semi-transparent. So the coolest thing, I remember, I always talk about the gut bag on our baits and everything. So when you look at a bait fish, the most solid part of that animal is its stomach area where all the entrails are. As it rolls above the stomach to the shoulder blades, it's less transparent. As it goes back to the tail, it becomes more transparent. So this is what I did with the FX series, only I layered the pearls, like, and any color that's on the FX series, I also pearled that color. So when you see bait fish in the water, they look very different when you grab a bait fish from in the water and take them out of the water. They look extremely different. Okay. So I wanted to try to imitate what the fish look like in the water, not what they look like out of the water, because out of the water they look different. So I wanted to mimic what they do in the water. So I started playing with these pearls, and the reality of it is it was a lot of trial and error, because when I painted a bait, I brought it to the lake, I put it underwater, I looked at what it looked like to see what I needed to do different, where I needed to make changes, et cetera, et cetera. So the long and short of it is, I come up with this FX series, and the whole basis of this series is the layering of the pearls. Okay, so here's what it does. If I take, and I'll just grab a bait, I'll grab green oil effects, and for the most part it looks just like it's got like a, and you've seen them in the store with that heat stamp oil finish on them. So here's what I did. Before I put the heat stamp on them, I layered a bunch of pearls. Then I put the heat stamp on it, and then I added more pearls to it. Okay, so this bait reflects all kinds of color in the water, different hints of different colors: green, blue, purple, yellow, etc., etc. So when I was explaining this color theory, this is hilarious. Oh, well, so let me get back on track. So what happens is, these baits reflect, like in clear water, this bait is almost transparent, except for the gut area and up on the shoulders by the head, and then as it goes back to the bait, it gets a little more transparent. All right. And so by layering the pearls, I'm getting different effects in different watercolors. So this bait looks completely different in clear water than it does in off colored water or dirty water. All right.
Okay.
All the effects do this. That's why it's called the effects series, because what it looks like in one water condition is not what it looks like in another water condition, which is exactly how real bait fish are. Real bait fish are very chameleon like, and they take on the light refraction of the water around them, so they absorb the colors around them. All right, so that's what these baits are actually doing this. So I have to give a presentation to the powers to be why this effect series needs to take place
Mhm.
and what it really does. So this is hilarious. So we have a Chad, my buddy Chad is at the company. He is a fabulous, fantastic fisherman.
You can
He's
catch them.
he can flat out catch them. So I'm going over pretty much more detail on my pearls, which I'm not going to give you the formulas on the show, but more details on what I'm doing and why it's working and blah blah blah. And he's yeah, he's all interested. Yeah. Total non-believer. So
Oh no.
he had to go out and do the bite spec report for it, which is going to air today, the bite spec report. So they got all the camera stuff. They went out and he's he gets in touch with me and he's like, dude, I thought you were lying to me. He goes, I can't believe what those baits look like in clear water and then what they look like in off color water and dirty water. He goes, they don't look the same. I go, I know. I told you that's why they were designed like that. So they're very realistic in the water. Okay. And so then he actually saw it with his own eyes, and now he is like a
He's a believer.
major believer. And so that's the whole premise behind the FX series, is just that. This is, you're going to see in all the jerk baits, all the crank baits, everything, they always throw pearl on it because pearl is a natural, color of fish. It's natural in their scales. It's what's underneath. It's how you do it that matters. And it took me a while to figure this out. And I got it figured out. And so I'll show you some of the colors here. And uh, this is violet cream. And what this violet cream has, it's an ivory bone back. It's ivory bone, but you can see it's almost like blue and purple pearl on the back of it. So this is like a real ivory bone color. It's beautiful. It's very vibrant. The sides are violet pearl. I have other pearls and metallics underneath the violet. I'm not going to get into the details. And then of course I've got that solid belly on this thing. So I had to make a twin to this for the spotted bass and smallmouth guys, and it's a twin, except this has the chartreuse gut on it, but this chartreuse is pearled. I pearled the living crap out of it. So it's not a bright, vibrant chartreuse. It almost glows. Okay, and so this one is
Violet chartreuse.
violet chartreuse. The other one is violet cream. And
Okay.
here's the deal with these two baits. Okay, in clear water, this bait has a very subtle neon effect. It's subtle. But the minute you put this in off color water, it glows like a light bulb. And that's the key. That's the key with the violet cream and the violet purple. That's the whole key with this bait. So it behaves very differently in the different water conditions. The next two colors I have are oil blue and oil green. Oil green's the bottom one, oil blue's the top one. So with these baits, again, here again, it's not about the foil, the heat stamp. It's about what's underneath the heat stamp to bring out the certain colors in the heat stamp. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of baits out that use this today, but it's what's underneath. And that's what I did. So I layered certain pearls and to get certain effects out of these colors. So if you look at FX oil green, for example, in clear water, this bait's very transparent. It's very transparent, and it has a lot of different color flash to it. You put this bait in off color water, and it almost looks white. It's very cool how this changes color. Now on the oil blue, I did the same thing with the oil blue, only I changed the pearls underneath. I didn't use the same color pearls. I changed the pearls underneath because everybody knows there's times when that bluish range is what the bass want, or in bright skies. So what I did was I used more blues, violets, silvers underneath this one.
Mm-hmm.
And so it gives you the effect, gives you the same effect. In the clear water, it's semi-transparent, but it's more in the violets to blue spectrum, where in dirty water, it becomes much more solid in appearance. So that's FX oil blue, FX oil green. The green for me performs a little better in low light conditions, where the blue will perform a little better in, you know, brighter light, higher skies, cleaner skies. And then I did a color because the one thing I found out about fishing, especially when I fly fish all the time, is sometimes you have to match the hatch. Sometimes that's just the way it is. So with this bait, this is called FX Blue Violet. So basically, it's really a gizzard shad. Same ordeal. We got the heavily pearled belly. I got a light pink pearled chin on it. It's semi-transparent. It's thicker in the head section and gets more transparent as the bait goes back towards the tail. But here's it's you gotta warn me before you put
You
stuff
can read.
like
You can read Anthony's comment out loud.
Yeah, it said, "Is it wrong that that the colors and names are turning me on?"
All right, sorry. Back to the in-depth, sensual description of the new FX series, Suspending Rattling Rogues, a lure net limited run.
You guys are killing me. So this thing actually, the back color and the shoulders are what's important, because I have a pearl that changes blue to violet on it.
Oh yeah,
Depending on the way the bait, depending on how the bait hits the light, it turns blue to violet. Which, if anybody's ever seen a gizzard shad in the water, especially cold. Now remember, this is cold water time. Gizzard shad are violet, purple, pearl, cream, white. Gizzard shad change their color in the wintertime, or when they're stressed beyond belief. So when you dunk this bait in the water, this thing looks so alive in the water. It actually surprised me a little bit, because how it transferred, it was so cool. So in clear water, the bait looks just like a little shad, with the semi-transparent here, and it gets more solid as it goes up towards the face. And then this gut bag on this bait is very pronounced in the water, because behind here is almost clear. Behind it is almost clear. I just have hints of two colors of pearl, but I'm not going to say what two. Hints of two colors of pearl on the belly of it. Okay. In off-colored water, this bait looks exactly like how the gizzard shad have that solid appearance. This bait is the match the hatch deal right here.
These are sick, dude.
Oh yeah, it's
I'm not gonna
crazy.
lie. I know you've been telling me for a long time, like I've been working. Was this the deal that like
Yeah.
almost a year ago, you were like, "Oh, I finally talked him into letting me do something that I can't talk about," and
Yes.
then you're like, "I'm working on it," and then you're like, "I think it's gonna happen," and then you're like, "Oh, it's gonna happen, but I can't tell you," and then last week you were like, "Hey, next week we should be able to do the
Yes.
FX show," but this has been so top secret that you haven't even
No.
teased any of these with me. This is the first
No.
time I'm seeing these.
Right on, because I had to keep this under my lid. So my last effects color in the Rogue. Now here, I want you to understand something. I have other effects colors coming out
Really?
in crankbaits. I did FX series stuff for Norman. That are not these. They're not exactly these
Yeah.
colors. There's new stuff. I've been literally killing myself on this stuff. And so because I live on the Great Lakes,
Mhm.
I needed a color that really played to smallmouth. But not only does it play to smallmouth, it plays to spotted bass because the water conditions are very similar and the two fish are very similar in behavior. So what I did here was, and basically, I call this Northern Lights, and that's not a new name by any stretch of the
Mhm.
imagination. Um, but what I did was, I I have three different pearls underneath this bait. Before I put one bit of color on it, I layered my pearls. Then I took my purple violet. You can see on the side that purple violet, and I pearled that with two different types of pearls.
Mhm.
On my belly, I used the chartreuse pearl that I
Smallmouth
u
love a chartreuse gut bag, right?
right, 100%. I used the same pearled chartreuse because this is subtle dynamite right here. And so I used the same belly on this bait that I did on this bait. So this back is a gradiated olive. On the head part,
Oh my
I
gosh.
dar I darkened it up, and as I go down the spine, I lighten it up and lighten it up and lighten it up. So it's a transparent olive back, but if you can see, I have metallics in the back. Real fine, fine, fine metallics in the back,
Mhm. Yeah, no, you can see it.
just on the spine.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there it is. It's popping big time right now.
Yeah, just on the spine.
Looks like a unicorn threw up on it.
Exactly. But you can see that side pearl, purple pearl and violet. You can see that really changing right now. You see how it gets subtle and light as the bait
Mhm.
rolls? So this is what happens in the water with this bait. As it as everybody knows, a bait'll wiggle and a bait'll pitch and roll. Okay? So every time this bait pitches and rolls, you're going to get that hue change on it. You see how subtle that is? How it changes?
Yeah, what's the color name on that one again?
Northern Lights.
Okay.
So this bait is specifically designed for the clearer water applications, um, for smallmouth and spotted bass. This bait looks alive in the water, and it's a mauler. It's an absolute mauler. So I took all this knowledge of these pearls, and I spent time with people at PPG to understand this. And so when I paint my effects series, sometimes I'm using pearls that change color naturally on their own. They go from green to gold, silver to gold, purple to blue, cyan to purple, different colors. Then, because I get all of my powder pearls I can make my own pearls. You follow me? Like I can take a violet and mix it with a lavender or mix it with a red. And so I can do all this. And so this is what I've been experimenting with for so long. And now the FX series is out, it's born, and it's taking pearls and taking the way we look at baits to a whole new level. It's I'm so excited about it because it's one thing to make a bait that looks like another fish out of the water. It's another thing to get it to look like what they look like underwater. And that's the key.
All right, this just dropped on lurenet.com. We'll share the system audio. I don't think you've probably seen this yet. This is the minute video.
I haven't seen it.
All right. I will watch
I have 5 videos that are going to release next week. That's my man Chad right there.
Okay. Hold on. I got to get this to where we can watch it full screen. There we go.
He's talking about baits, this bait, that bait, blah, blah, blah.
You hear it?
Nobody really talks about colors. We went next level at Smithwick in the suspending rogue. You guys, we've got 6 new colors, the FX series. What is the FX series? It's all about colors, and it's all about the pearls. Frank has crushed it with these 6 colors. He's overlaid these various colors of pearls to give you a super realistic look. Overlaying of pearls gives you depth within the bait, and it's super realistic. With forward-facing sonar, jerk baits can be thrown any time of year, really. But when this rogue excels is in the wintertime, when that water's sub 50 degrees because of the really slow action, the lifelike appearance now, and the rogue roll. The FX series is designed to fish anywhere bait fish are prevalent. It doesn't matter if it's threadfin, gizzard, herring. There's a color to match in this series perfectly. Man, if you guys are in the market for a jerkbait this winter, you've got to check out the Suspending Rogue in the FX series colors. Also, check out Frank's videos that's going to be upcoming. He's going to break down how he developed these colors and give you a detailed explanation on each one.
And he became a believer.
Yeah, that was freaking cool.
Yeah, because it's one thing for me to tell you, but it's another thing for you to see it for yourself. I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of fantastic jerkbait colors on the market in all brands. They do a great job. They're subtle looking. There's vibrant ones. There's all through the whole spectrum. They do a really good job on them, and they catch fish. Okay. I needed something to go beyond what it looks like in a package.
Have you?
Go ahead.
Have you seen what they wrote about you?
No, I don't.
No, because this is brand new. This is legendary stuff. From the brilliant bass snatching mind of expert angler Frank Scalish comes the FX series.
I'm a bass,
and we are sure it will change everything you once knew about the dabs of paint on your fishing lures. How about that?
That's fantastic. No, I'm seeing this for the first time right now.
No, it's interesting. What I thought you did there was you have 2 oils and you have kind of 2 of the purples. It's almost like you kind of have matching pairs of baits that kind of go with each other. Is that a fair?
Yeah, it's very fair. I did that because I needed now everybody knows, like, look, a chartreuse belly on the right conditions, the largemouth will absolutely choke on them. No question about it. But I needed to put baits together that appealed to all the species of bass. And so where like the cream ones where I have just the regular cream and then the chartreuse, the violet chartreuse, because I wanted baits that like I'm the kind of guy that'll go, oh yeah, I gotta get this for, my largemouth or my normal bass fishing conditions, but I need this for smallmouth. You follow me? And so that's why I kind of did that. And then the oil effects paired up because now I have other oil effects stuff that I'm working on right now, by the way. But I can't get into detail on it. So I wanted the greens and the blues because everybody knows there are certain water conditions where that green is the special deal, and certain water conditions where the blue becomes the special deal. How I tell is if I look at the water and it's got that hint of greening color to it, I'm going to the green first. If I look at the water and it almost looks dark and clear, I'm going to the blue oil.
Okay.
So there's ways that, and you'll get accustomed to it as you fish these colors. You'll get accustomed to going right off the rip. Oh yeah, I got to get that on. And then you'll find out where you live, certain lakes will have certain color characteristics. Because Matt, too. You go to one lake and color AB works on it. You go to another lake and color CD works on it. You know what I mean? Certain lakes have, I'm going to say color preferences, but that's the wrong word. But certain lakes lend themselves better to certain colors. And once you fish those lakes, you understand that. I mean, it's no different than soft plastics. Oh, that's a June bug lake. Oh, that's a Bama Magic Lake. You know what I mean? You kind of know where you're at, and we, let's be honest, okay? We all know our local lakes that we fish around. I can go here where I live, and I know exactly which colors I need to be throwing on each lake. It's because I've been fishing here my whole life, just like you guys, wherever you live. You've been fishing where you live your whole life, so you know what color schemes or color ranges you need for your lake. So that's pretty cool.
All right. What I was furiously typing away over here is I wanted to make sure that the capital BTL 23 for 15% off of regularly priced items worked on this FX series. And I just applied it in my cart. It said your coupon was successfully applied, and it takes it down from $8.99 a lure, takes $1.35 off each one. So you're talking about each one of these jerk baits for 9, 8, 7, like $7.60.
Yeah,
make sure you use that capital BTL 23. You'll go through the first deal where it'll say like where do you live and what all your stuff is, and then when you go to the payment under apply discount code capital BTL 23, and then like shipping on this was $7.99. So if you order if you order one of each, that'd be $6. So it's like $1 each for shipping. So you're at $8 a lure. That's a pretty good deal, Frank.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And use that discount code also because that helps me.
Right.
Like, I don't get any money off of it at all. But what I get is, hey, y'all are listening to BTL day 4. You're listening to what Frank's saying. It allows us to bring more hard-hitting content like this.
Right. And it keeps the show alive.
See, Mark said he didn't use the discount code. Oh, I should have used it. You can always go back and order more. But it works. BTL 23, 15% off.
And that code's only good till the end of December.
Yeah.
By the way. And so here, look, so you could get, they got lure pillows out now. So on LureNet. So you could even go and use that for, a Christmas gift, or a man cave thing where they got pillows that look like lures. So there's a lot of stuff going on LureNet right now.
There they are right there.
Right. So those are actually, throw pillows that look like certain baits.
I think Charlie Hartley would get he would just surround himself with the tiny torpedo baby bass pillows.
Right? I mean, he's a tiny torpedo freak machine.
Do you want to send one of those? Let's send one of those to him for Christmas.
Well, now you let the cat out of the bag.
Well, he's fishing right now because he's on him. He's been sending me pictures of tournament winnings. No, tournament winnings.
All right. Yeah, rocket one out to him.
Okay.
We're in. We're dialed in. Look, Matt's actually making a purchase live on TV.
Putting all my information in.
Right, and make sure that information is visible.
I will say that the spitting image, Clay, I'm with you on that one. That is a nostalgic pillow right there, because I remember throwing that way back in the day of the Assumption Bass Club. That was like my go-to. So this is how ate up I was. All the guys in the club threw the chug bug, and I
Right.
thought, ooh, this subtle spit and image might get me a few more bites than the chug bug guys because it's just a little bit.
It's a different sound for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That chug bug was a good gurgling sound to it.
So was it hard to get Lurda to let you do this? I know it sounded like you had to do a little convincing, which I'm shocked at.
The complication, I gotta really think about how I'm gonna say this.
I'm just saying, I know some of the. I'm not trying to get you in any trouble here. I'm just looking at these going. If you come to me and I'm a tackle manufacturer with this palette of colors, I'm saying, when can you have them done?
No, I have carte blanche on making colors. I could do whatever I want to do.
Okay.
The trick is, so basically they get originals painted from me so they can actually physically see them, study them, and look at them. That's anything that I have in my house that's got a tag on it is going in production. And Matt, you can attest. You were in the basement. You saw them all hanging up on
freaking cool.
And they're all tagged because they're all going in production. So what's it? Yeah. The loved one is a Christmas gift, buying right now. Yeah, I'm gonna buy my wife one too, and me one, so I can hit her with it when she snores. But
you'll be on Dateline episode was smothered in an FX series spitting image pillow.
But yeah, so no, I have pretty much carte blanche. I could design whatever I want, and you'll see later on some of the other colors coming out. I'll have a signature series coming out on the paint shop that are signed and everything. They let me do pretty much whatever I want. The trick is, so they'll get my original, and then they'll get a paint by numbers list from me of how I lay it out, what goes down first, the paint I'm using, the paint code number, the pearl I'm using, pearl code number. If I make the pearl up myself, I give them the numbers of the two pearls I use, the manufacturer of said pearls, et cetera, et cetera. It's a big process, okay? Then it goes to production. We get a bunch of samples in. We go, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. These three got to go back to the drawing board. These three are good. And then because if they take one of my steps out of order, it changes the bait. Right. 100%.
I am by far. Okay. I don't know. Are these like children? Like you can't, I don't know. I'm not a dad. Maybe you can't pick a favorite child, but are these like children where you could pick, where you don't have a favorite one, you love them all equally? Or is there one that you have a soft spot for, like out of these six, just as a whole? Because I'll tell you, for me, the violet chartreuse far and away, like that's the one that's my favorite color out of the FX series.
Yeah, I mean, I lean real heavy to this one.
The violet chartreuse?
Yeah, I lean real heavy.
So we're on the same page on that.
Right, but I have to be honest with you. I catch a lot of fish on all the colors that I have. And it's like I said earlier, if I'm smallmouth fishing or spotted bass fishing, these are the two I start with. I start out with the violet chartreuse and northern lights, always. All the other colors go into the mix depending on water clarity, what lake I'm on, et cetera, et cetera. But I am dialed into that. So I don't have a lot of experimentation, but I will say this: Frankie and I last winter were on a lake, and he was catching. I was throwing the perfect 10, and he was throwing a different brand lure. And he doesn't want me to mention the lure, so I'm not going to. Otherwise, I would tell you, but it's not a big deal. And he was catching fish on that, and I was catching them on the perfect 10. So I looked at the color lure he was throwing, and I said, I'm gonna have to mold this perfect 10 color and that together and create something in the middle.
I know
And
exactly what you're talking about, and you did it.
and I did it, and then I went out with my cameraman to film, and we slaughtered them. Like, it was ludicrous. And here's the reason, because that day I caught as many as Frankie caught.
Mm-hmm.
We were going pretty much 1 for 1. When I made the color and then went back there with the color that I made, they were you'd pump the Rogue down there and shake the rod tip a little bit, and they were knocking the slack out of the line. For whatever the reason, the meld of those two colors was dynamic to the fish. So this is what I do. This is the whole premise of why I need to be on the water a lot, because that's where I go, oh, if I add this or subtract that, am I going to get a more aggressive bite, or is this going to appeal to them when they become a little more lethargic and don't want to chase? So that's what I do. That's how I develop my colors. It's really wild because I do make some colors that just don't work, and I throw them in the garbage. I'm like, this ain't catching them. This isn't doing what I want it to do. And I come back and I put a big X on the page, my color formula page, and in the garbage it goes. Or I might come back and go, I need to eliminate this pearl. I need to add this color pearl.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll do it. And so it's a process. It's not, in the beginning, I felt like some of the companies that I'm designing colors for, I felt like they just thought I go downstairs and say, today we're going to make up a color, and here's
great.
one, here's another one. You know what I mean? But it's not.
Yeah.
I do a lot of R&D on this stuff, and if I put it out there, it's going to catch fish. Like I did a color that almost didn't go to light. It's called Electric Shad, and it's in the Bomber Fat Free series. Okay. I did this color because I had a theory on when I would see stressed bait fish, they would get all stressed out. They change their color hue a little bit on their bellies, and they would get a pinkish reddish line in between their bellies. Like if you look at that color on the belly color of it, they get like a little pinkish hue in it. And so I wanted to create something like that. And then as I rolled that color over into the shoulders, I put a very pale chartreuse underneath the shoulders, and then olive, a transparent pearled olive back on it, because that really looked like a thread fin shad. And then it really looked stressed out in the water. So I wound up, that color almost got thrown in the garbage, and I begged for it. And then I wound up going out with my cameraman. We were doing it was summertime, and we were offshore cranking, and I was catching them on citrus, and catching them pretty good, to be honest with you. I mean, I was happy with it. Like if I was in a tournament, I would have stayed on the citrus like a madman, because I was catching pretty decent fish on it. So I had that on another rod, and I said, well, let me see what we got going with, with Electric Shad. And I fired the Electric Shad out, and the bait was never on their face. The bait was down their throat, and I started catching a lot of 5-pounders on it. Where with citrus, I caught 5-pounders, but I also caught 3s, and I also caught heavy 2s. But when I put that bait down there, for some reason, they were choking on this thing. And I upped my size class, and we caught my cameraman Joe will attest to this. We caught several limits over 20 pounds that day, and it was a freak show. And so that color, in my opinion, that color should not be overlooked by anyone, because that's a really good crankbait color. It's got the right characteristics to it. Now here, remember this. I was also catching them on citrus. That color did better than citrus fishing them side by side, because when we got done filming, Joe was throwing the citrus and I was throwing that color. And it was happening. I'm just saying, it was happening. So don't be fooled if you're catching something with a hot shad pattern like citrus to throw that electric shad, because there's something about it that, you know, really is appealing. But yeah, I mean, that's, you know, that's the color game. That is the color game.
Is it true that when you went to LureNet with your first run of color options for the FX series, this is what they turned you down on?
Wonder Bread, the all fabulous walleye lure.
If you guys are ever feeling down, let me say this to the listeners. Sometimes we've talked about it. You get the winter doldrums. Go into the Bomber Long A colors on lurenet.com, and your day will just immediately be brightened. There's just all sorts of wonderful options in here that just make you smile.
100%. I mean, those are the walleye guys, dude. If you go to the Bandit Walleye Deeps, you'll see even more wild colors.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Congratulations. Like, this is a congratulations. Listen, I know this is a show that is sponsored by LureNet. I know that we're saying, hey, go to LureNet and buy this stuff. But behind it, there's a lot of pride and hard work and 30 plus years of experience that went into it. And I think part of the cool thing is to be able to watch and know you and get a feel for what you're like, and how when you see something on a website that comes out, you can put a name and a face and a person and a story behind that product and know, hey, this is a company that is working, like, this is how this came about. And I think that's a really cool element that working with LureNet and Pradco and the brands has allowed a lot of people to see on day 4 with Frank Scalish, is how the industry works when it works right with someone who has a lot of experience bringing baits to market that you can buy, open up the package, go to your lake and catch fish on. And that's what I think is the cool thing about being a part of this.
Yeah, and it's really exciting for me, because I was never the best fisherman on the planet. I had to work harder than everybody else to get where I got in the industry. So I was a crazy sick student of the game. And I tell this to Frankie all the time. I wasn't a gifted angler, but I was gifted in my obsession, because when I started to fish, I had to fish more than everybody. I had to go way deeper, and I put all my time in, and I literally put all my time in on it to learn what I learned today. I never knew in the beginning where my artistic background and my marketing and advertising background, I didn't know how that was going to take me through my career. But my marketing background helped me get sponsors, because the sponsor game is all about marketing. It's not about fishing. It's all about marketing. My fishing ability helped give me credibility to get the sponsors, et cetera, et cetera. And the one thing I said in this, as I was going through my fishing career, whenever I was with an in-industry sponsor and they asked me what I wanted to get out of it, aside from the money and the sponsorship, I said I wanted to be part of this industry. I want to be involved in this industry. When I'm done fishing tournaments, I want to make a difference in this fishing industry. And that's how I turned this thing into a career. Last year's Classic, I'm not changing the subject. Last year's Classic, when Matt and I were signing stuff, and I brought a bunch of the, BTL illustrations and signed them, and we gave them away. I had a spray out card.
Yeah, that was cool.
I had a spray out card, and a spray out card, for those who don't know what it is when I am making a color, I will have a spray out card to test what that color looks like. Now, a color over a white background will look different than the same color over a gray background. That'll look different over a black background. So I test all this stuff out before I start laying it down because I got to know which colors got to go on top of which colors. A gentleman got a spray out card from me, and I told him it was going to be on a Rogue. Now, this was last year's classic, so this is going to tell you how long ago. The spray out card you got is Northern Lights. So if you wanted to get the bait to go with your spray out card, this is the bait. The guy's going to know exactly who he is because we talked about it at the class.
And the spray out card looks like Northern Lights.
Yeah, it's got all these colors on it and all my samples on that spray out card.
Are you going to have any more spray out cards at this year's classic?
I don't believe I will.
Okay.
I don't believe I will because I did some other experimentation.
There's just one. There's one spray out card for each color, right?
No, sometimes I'll just start using sections of a piece of paper so I don't waste it. But he got the one spray out card where I was working on this color.
Yeah, so that hopefully is in a frame somewhere. You can put that bait in there with it. And that would
Right.
be a cool little man cave deal along with the pillow.
Right, Northern Lights. So anyhow, so I just wanted to tell him that because I promised him I would tell him that, and I have no contact information. Speaking of contact information, I'm going to get animated here. The two guys that won the pumpkin contest, I can't send a lure without an address.
You have the emails, right?
I emailed, I replied, but I got no.
It didn't go into your spam?
Maybe it did. I didn't look in spam. So Jay Winkler and Brady McComb sent their addresses?
I don't know if they did or not. It might be in your spam box. But if you sent them an email and they replied, it should be in your inbox.
But I didn't get any addresses.
Okay.
So I'm asking you guys to send me your addresses. I've got lures boxed up and ready to mail to you. And lots of them, like I think 14 or 15 a piece.
Yeah, like a full set of those.
Yeah, full set of DD22s and Fat Boys. The Fat Boy.
Did I hear you say at the beginning of this thing that this is kind of just, this is the gates opening up on some Frank Scalish color schemes that we're going to see roll out over the next couple years?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
That's got to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm really pumped, actually. I'm going to talk about a color, not right now. But yeah, I cut into your Christmas budget, dude. Peter, I apologize.
That's fine. If you use capital BTL23 at checkout on lurenet.com for the Smithwick Suspending Rattling Rogue FX series, it will save you 15% off of regularly priced items. Therefore, you'll still be able to spread the Christmas cheer.
Right, and I'm going to tell you, you got to use the same excuse that your significant others use. But it was on sale. Look at what I saved.
But look at the gut bag, honey.
Yeah, it's got a gut bag.
Anyway, sorry, I cut you off there. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I have a color coming out in a particular bait, and this color is really cool. And that really sucks because I can't tell you anything.
That's fine. We can tease it. Hell, we teased the color 7 for a year and a half. We could tease an Uncle Frank color.
This is going to be very equivalent, by the way.
Are we still going to have color? Did we talk about this publicly? Are we still going to have color 7s at the 2024 Classic on Grand Lake?
Yeah, I'm signing them.
100 of them?
You and me are sitting there signing them.
First 100?
We're going to just say the first 100. There might be more.
Okay. I'm excited about that. Wish I was fishing in it.
Yeah.
3 months away.
I wish you were too, and I wish I was too, but I'm not, and you're not. So we're going to go have fun.
All right. Something else caught my eye when I was looking at it. Do you have anything? I've never seen this before. Lure Net Paint Shop. I would assume there's only 300 of these in existence since it's on the Paint Shop. Both of these colors. I don't know if they're yours. If you have anything to do with that. We'll start out with the one that caught my eye, which was the inverted perch.
No, I did not have anything to do with that, but that's pretty slick looking. I actually like that bait the way it's paled out on the sides.
That's an interesting color, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We used to hang our crankbaits on our dashboards of our cars to bleach them, to make them fade. And that looks faded to me. That's pretty sweet.
And then the other one is the Fat Boy in Pretty Boy.
Pretty Boy. Yeah, no, I didn't do that color. I'm gonna give my hats off to.
That's a beautiful color.
Yeah, I'm gonna give my hats off to the gal or guy at the shop that painted that.
Do they have any other like kind of independent mad geniuses such as yourself that paint these lures, or is it, you know what I mean? Like, are there any other like Frank Scalish type guys creeping around?
Yeah, I think anybody that can put color on a bait and make it look like something is a mad genius.
Okay.
I have to give them credit. Because sometimes they really hit one out of the park.
Hey, here's a question. Why don't you see many like bull bluegill, bold bluegill type colors like this in like a Rogue?
Well, that's a pretty good question. Most of the bass that you're chasing with the Rogue are running suspended pelagics. I found. Not saying that in a lake that doesn't have any, shad or pelagics, the bluegill pattern would absolutely work. There's no reason it wouldn't.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's handy. Trevor won the gift cards for LureNet at the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame auction, and now he's got some ammo.
Oh, he's got a couple bandoleros ready to throw at the ready to throw at the order form. That's how
those are art. There's a question on there that said, hey, what colors if you were to pick up a couple of these for Grand and 10 killer? And I'll let you answer that, but to me, I honestly would throw any of those 6.
Yeah, 100%. Without a doubt. I would go violet chartreuse.
I agree.
I would go
the blue. Yep.
Blue violet for sure. Green oil and blue oil.
Which is 4 of the 6. If I was to pick 2 for Grand and 10 killer, I'd do that first one you held up.
The violet
yeah,
chartreuse.
It's a little bit off colored when it gets into that March, April. If you have a rain and you're kind of in that mid-lake area, or a 10 killer around Chicken Creek can get a little color in depending on the runoff. There's also smallmouth and spots and largemouth and 10 killer. So you got to go with one of the chartreuse, and then something with a bluish hue is always good at Grand. Horse Creek down, that color right there, that oil blue.
Yeah.
The oil blue, if I was to pick 2 colors for Grand and 10 killer from now until May, those are the 2 colors I would personally go with. Now, I am not Jason Christie. I am not Mike McClellan, but those are the 2, that I would probably have tied on. Does that sound fair?
It's totally fair. Like when I was on Grand, I was catching them cranking DD22s and deep little ends, and I was actually catching them, because you mentioned the blue thing. I was actually catching them on chartreuse and blue and citrus crankbaits in that lake. But when I went to 10 killer, it was much, much cleaner. And I was catching them on fat-free 7 in Tennessee shad, which is very, very, very much this hue range right here.
Okay. Do you know how many they made of each one of these? I saw that it was limited, but it's not in the paint shop, so I would assume there's more than 300.
It is a limited run. I'm not 100%.
I don't know what limited run means.
I don't either. All I do is make them.
All right.
but
But this one's not on us if they run out. We don't. That's a email to LureNet. Hey, we need more of these. Not to Uncle Frank or me, like with the number 7.
Oh my gosh, dude! You know what? In the history of all history, that was the greatest thing that ever happened. Because and it wasn't great for the guys that didn't get the baits.
And that's why we tried to make it right by rushing
another
1,500 more through, which then ticked off some of the guys that got the original 300. I get that, but guys, it's a lure that's got kind of part of history in the Day 4 brand. We thought as many people that wanted one should be able to get one. And it's not like we didn't, there was zero jack up of the price. It was still a bait that was under 10 bucks to get.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't like a money grab. It was literally getting it in the hands of the people that wanted to have that.
100%. And the cool thing about that color is that thing actually catches them.
Yeah. No, I get a bunch of people that are like, hey, caught him on number 7.
Oh yeah, that actually catches them. I'm actually oh man, I can't let the cat out of the bag. I want that in a jerk bait.
Ooh, you just let the cat out of the bag.
I did. I screwed up in a big way.
Oh, because it would have the 7 on the throat underneath it too?
Everything. Same bait.
That would be oh my gosh, that would be a Texoma killer. Texoma, a little bit of orange on it, the purple on the back, the pearls on the belly, the throats. Ooh.
Yeah, dude, you don't think that would crush the smallmouth?
Is that in the works yet?
Could be.
Can you whip one of those up on a Rogue and then just send it to me and no one else?
Oh, we're gonna have to talk after the show, Matt.
I'm just saying. Look, color 7. We do all the shows there. It goes right there. That's the production run that goes right there. And then there's the eighth one that was ever painted, and that goes right there.
Yeah, that one should have that one should be signed on the belly. And by me and dated, I think.
I already wrote on the back of it. It says number 8 FAS with the deal, so it's already signed.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Don's saying a color number 7 with some extra pearl on it would be legit.
Oh, I know.
Are you teasing us, or is that actually happening? Okay, good show today, Frank.
I am forced not to be able to speak at this moment.
Okay.
We need other questions. Is there any other questions that you'd like to be asked? I take the 5th on that one.
Oh, yeah, we talked about how great it was, and Clay points out, the color Genesis wasn't great for Mark. He's doing great, though. Hey, I will say...
he's holding his own, bud.
Yeah, so... I told you we went and watched their. Let me get rid of all this stuff. Are we done? All right, we're done with that.
You got to have like 100 screens on that computer by now.
Yeah. So there's the bowling site that Jeffries is running. There it is, right there. Look at that.
Nice.
Premium supporter of SNU bowling. Bass Talk Live, right there. So they won their first title in Fort Worth for the men's and the women's, and then the coaches poll and the computer polls came out, and they're in the top 20 in the country already out of all of collegiate bowling.
That's pretty damn good.
First year.
Phenomenal.
I
mean, dude, think about how many colleges there are.
Phenomenal stuff for Mark Jeffries, co-hosted BTL for 17 years, started Day 4 with Frank Scalish, and I think you guys got in 15 or 20 episodes before he retired, and now we've taken it to 140? Is that what I think? If you go up to the beginning, is what you were saying? 140?
Yeah, we're
141. This is the 141st show.
We kicked out some shows, man.
Yeah. Anything else you got?
How about Flacco QBing for the Browns, baby?
Is he?
Yeah.
I like that. We are simul streaming on Big Play still. I like that old school Cleveland Browns hoodie that you're wearing right now.
Yeah, dude, I do too. I've only worn it 3 times. I can't damage this hoodie.
Yeah. Well, we had a lot of firsts. We had a cat introduction.
We did.
Lynx,
The
new addition to the Scalish household, and the FX series of rattling, suspending rogues. There's not much more you can ask for in an hour and 10 minutes.
And pillows. We did a little pillow talk.
All right, this has been another edition of Day 4 with the man Frank Scalish. Hey, I will be in Mexico next week chasing giant El Salto largemouth. But that doesn't mean that there will not be a Day 4. It'll just be recorded Day 4, and we're going to record it right after this show, but it won't air until next Thursday. So same place, same time. We'll see you next week. Congrats, Frank.
Thank you, guys.